Hello, and welcome to American Heron Wargaming. This is a crafting report for a project that I finally wrapped up after taking way too long to finish it. When the New Vegas wave was released for Fallout Wasteland Warfare, I was very excited to pick up a pack of the Securitrons, Mr. House's armored automatons. However, when I got the pack, I realized that there was no face for Victor, the cowboy one that monitors your progress across the Mojave. And there was one thing missing too, the glow of their TV screen faces. I figured that could be addressed with a paint job that used some object source lighting, but I had something more intricate in mind. The first step was very carefully drilling and widening a hole where the faceplate would go, and then drilling a hole in the bottom of the base to run the wires through. Then another narrow passageway through the torso and through the wheel. Then, jumping ahead a bit, I painted the models in separate assemblies, so I could also set up pass-through holes in their bases as well. I also 3D printed out some CR2032 battery holders I designed to go in the bases. The first test with the LED was a success. I could run them into the central cavity, and the wires had plenty of room to snake downwards. And even after getting resoldered, they were lighting up perfectly. Very brightly, actually. I retested the light after gluing each part together, just to be sure that there hadn't been any issues with the wires. So I had the lights installed, and some base extenders on the bottom to make room for the battery holders. The next step was to deal with the faceplates. The kit comes with 4 different options, 3 pre-molded faces and 1 blank one. So I took the blank one and created a mold for it with blue stuff. Then I cast 2 copies of the screen with translucent resin, so that it would allow the light to shine through. This wasn't extra enough, though. I knew I wanted to have the faces on there still. However, I don't trust my ability to paint that on freehand style. So I got a sheet of water transfer slide paper, and printed out the portrait of Victor and the soldier variant, and applied those onto the translucent resin screens. They slotted in perfectly after a little cleanup, and the effect was completed. Self-illuminated Securitrons, with the original face art to boot. They don't look half bad when the lights are off either. After finishing up the soldering in the bases, gluing the battery mounts in place, and painting the rim, I was happy to call this project a success. They came out exactly the way I wanted, even despite some issues with water transfer decal paper. Since it was printed with an inkjet printer, I had to get them wet for the transfer, but not too wet or else the decals would actually wash away. It was a tricky balance, but it turned out nicely in the end. I love the effect, and I was a bit worried that they would be a bit too bright, but the translucence of the screens really fades it out nicely. They don't show up as well in the photos due to lighting, but in person you can really see both the light and the decals. Now I just have to get these guys in a game somehow, so keep an eye out for that. Now, stay safe out there in the wasteland.